Yo, what is up, Bad Union fans, and welcome to the Power Rankings number 10 post week 9 with your two analysts, myself, Schady,
and myself, Shroomraver. Yes, hello everyone, as Schady said, welcome to this week's issues of the Power Rankings. As you well know, this is where myself and Schady, we go through the list of the coaches in the TBU and kind of just rank them as we see how we thought they fared both in the week just gone and as a whole with their team building and their performances throughout. And as we always like to stress, this is entirely opinion based. These are what we think the power rankings are, and as we always encourage, let us know if you disagree with us, if you agree, and where you would rank the 12 coaches in your own list.
Yep.
So we had 5 games to go off, not the usual 6. There was one enforced forfeit, unfortunately, which has kind of affected how we've done our rankings. So I guess without any further ado, we will just kick off with number 12, and we both have Jedi there, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, Jedi is long out of the running for a playoff position. So as he said in his own video, he was going to go full Jedi this week. And unfortunately,
it's also full headache for Schady.
Yes, yeah, full headache for Schady, full Jedi from Jedi, and full 3-0 against him as he was playing against Enzo and the Swiskers. And yeah, he took the 3-0 loss. And he did go full Jedi. And in some cases, that was actually quite cool. You know, there was a few sets that we discussed. Camouflage Extreme Speed Zygardes. That's cool. I like that.
It's really cool on paper.
Yes. And, you know, he did sort of say how he was going to use it. He said the exact situation where he wanted to use it. Unfortunately, he didn't do it when that situation arose. Yeah. Which was a shame. Because it would have been really nice. You know, the way he wanted to use it was to use the camouflage, turn into a normal type, not take something out, and then not be weak to the obvious revenge killer, which was Enzo's Kyurem. So the idea was he would be a normal type, he wouldn't be weak to either of Kyurem's stabs, and he might be able to take it out with stab extreme speeds after setting up coil. So very, very nice idea on paper. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get it to work as he wanted. And then we saw a sort of pseudo-normal Snorlax with rest and attacks and curse. And then it got a bit Jedi.
Yeah.
We saw Banded Mr. Mime. We saw the Ominous Wind Rotom Wash, which had an interesting set that I'm not sure I fully agree with. But he was looking for the boosts on Ominous Winds. You know, if he'd have got them, it would have been fantastic. Unfortunately, it's only a 10% chance. Didn't quite work out. And then we saw the Aqua Ring Toxic Rain Dance Protect Blastoise with the Rain Dish.
Which is the Mega Venus counter, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he wanted to do a bit of stalling of his own, and he had an interesting idea to do it. Unfortunately, he was completely walled by, as Schady just said, Mega Venusaur and Fortress, which was less than ideal, I think we would say.
Blastoise getting caught by Fortress. That's something new.
That is a new thing that Jedi has discovered. so props to him for that, I guess. But, you know, he had a few very nice sets, a few more questionable ones. I feel like he was setting up a bit too much. You know, with the Snorlax, and then subsequently with the Zygardes, we saw cursing and coiling and all sorts of things going on with Jedi. Not able to make it work. Did get a nice lucky crit on the Cotton Guarding, Calm Minding Slurpuff, which could have swept him very, very easily if he hadn't sort of channeled his inner Ethan and been lucky and bad.
I was about to say that.
I know you too well. But yeah, you know, Jedi unfortunately taking that loss. But, you know, we have been able to see some sort of true Jedi-ness coming out later on in the season. And he does make games exciting, you know. You never know what this guy is going to bring. And to be honest, I'm really looking forward to his last game of the season, because God only knows what he's bringing to that one.
It's against Sis, and I expect Sis to go a similar way.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, Jedi versus Sis, that is going to be, I mean, I don't know how competitive it's going to be, but my God, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be headache-inducing.
It's going to be hilarious to watch. I cannot wait.
Probably,
So, with that all said and done, there is a fly buzzing around my head, and I don't like it. With that all said and done, we're going to move on to number 11, and at number 11 on the list is the aforementioned Sizz Awesome and the Somerset Scizors.
Yes.
who played against Anima. Always going to be a tough game. Anima, of course, the runaway leader of the league at the moment. And Sizz did take the 5-0 drubbing, the big loss of the week. He had a very nice team, well predicted against his opponent, you know. I enjoyed the sort of semi-bulky Toxicking Hydreigon. That was a very nice idea.
Thank you.
I feel like Schady might have had a hand in that.
Not at all.
Not at all, no. But, you know, as much as his team-building choices were generally very good, it would have been nice to see Granbull, I think. You know, we've seen how much of a problem Medicham is for opposing teams. Sorry, the Mega Medicham, I should say. And, you know, Sizz didn't have an enormous amount for it. He had a lot of things that could take a hit, maybe. But he didn't really have switch-ins, I don't think.
I mean, how many switch-ins are there really in the game?
Well, not many, it would seem. Not many at all. And, you know, Anima was able to really exploit that very well. You know, he got a little bit unlucky, we have to say. He could have tried to keep Vaporeon around for a little longer. He did get an unfortunate paralysis. But how much it matters, I'm not sure. You know, at the end of the day, he had nothing for Medicham in the end game, and in the beginning of the game, and in the rest of the game. Really.
Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't to be that time. He didn't really have room on his team for the Granbull, I guess, but he might have had a better chance if he'd brought it instead of something else.
Yeah, I think his reasoning for not bringing Granbull is that his team would have been really defensive at that point, because the only thing he could have replaced was Hydreigon. From what I guessed, or from getting. And Hydreigon was there to break stall and stuff, so I don't think he would really want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why Granbull probably wasn't there. He had the Roserade, which was absolutely there to counter Heliolisk. He brought in not a single time.
Yeah.
He could have taken a Specs Hyper Voice, if I recall correctly. He never switched it in. I don't know why. He switched in his physically defensive Zapdos to take a Volt Switch for no reason. When he could just go into Roserade and apply pressure to some extent. He could have also gone into Roserade at another point on Hippowdon. Once again, apply pressure to Anima. He didn't do that at one point. Roserade only came in at the end to die. That's all it did, pretty much. So he misplayed massively with that thing. I don't know why he revealed Tailwind so early. I feel like this should have been a thing he, should have used later, and he didn't use it at all, to be honest. He didn't use it a whole lot, because at the end he decided to go into Vaporeon instead of Roserade. Once again, the issue. His team building was nice. I liked a lot of the things he had, but he just didn't play well. I feel like he didn't think about a lot of his plays enough. I saw his live comm, but I still think he didn't think enough about his plays.
I mean, that is a problem that Sizz has encountered in the past. Sometimes he just gets a little bit ahead of himself and doesn't think about things too much. Which makes for some very fun reactions, I have to say, when things don't go his way.
I mean, yes, his videos are always a thing of beauty.
Oh yeah, this is true.
No matter how much he fucks up.
There it is. But I think, even if he had been sort of taking full amount of time for every single move he could make, he was up against an opponent who really kind of just outthought him.
Definitely. But I think he could have made it a little bit closer, and he could have made it a bit more difficult for Anima. Yeah. But he was outplayed by an amazing opponent.
He was.
That's definitely part of that. And a borderline broken Mega.
yeah, Medicham. I remember when she first drafted it, you and I both raised eyebrows at it a little bit. I think you weren't happy with its speed tier.
Yeah, it's just that it's not my playstyle.
Yeah, but, Anima's making it work, but we will get onto that in a little bit.
I'll draft Cresselia next season just to counter that thing.
There it is. Cresselia is evil.
I won't. Yeah,
you better not.
I'll sweep you with it. Ban it.
No, you won't. Not a chance. So, just before we sort of go off on a tangent of shit-talking each other, which happens a lot, I have to say, we should probably move on to number 10 on our lists. And that is going to be Josh Squirtacular and the Kentucky Kecleons, who had a very tough match against Xenon and the Slovenian Arcanines. Unfortunately, Josh taking the 2-0 loss there. I enjoyed his sets. Again, it's a running theme. People are bringing some fantastic sets, even on this late on in the league. And I'd like to really single out Mew. I enjoyed Mew. it's very easy to just throw Mew, as people have said, into that defensive defogging role, simply because it can do it, and you don't necessarily want to bring someone else when you could just apply offensive pressure and then have Mew saved as the defensive one. In this instance, we saw a sort of defensive build, but with Calm Mind and 2 attacking moves, and I can't remember what the other move it had was.
Softball.
Softboiled, that was the one. Calm Mind and Softboiled with Psychic and Flamethrower, which was a really nice set, and it looked to possibly do a lot of work. Unfortunately, he was kind of outfoxed by I was going to say Xenon there. Of course, it wasn't actually Xenon playing; it was Jack, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, he was kind of outfoxed by Jack, going for a very clever double toxic, which put the timer on the Calm Mind Mew, meaning it wasn't going to be able to do as much work as I think Josh wanted it to. He only had 1 physical attacker, which was something I was sort of umming and ahhing about a little bit. That being his Horlucha. There it is, the John Cena music. It had to pop up at some point. He only had the Horlucha for physical attack, and unfortunately it was not trained in the mountains, it would seem, because it did miss that sky attack. Again, we have to wonder how much that mattered in the long run, but it was unfortunate at the time, I think we have to say.
It's Josh's fault for getting the accuracy EVs, so...
There it is. No training in accuracy. So yeah, basically it's entirely Josh's fault.
Yeah. I'm not sure why Safety Goals Me was necessary. I think I understand this, but I'm not sure if it was necessary. Maybe a Lumberry, a Cobbleberry leftovers would have been a tad more helpful, but it gives him not a safe switch into Amogus, even though he did have Mandibuzz, which can't really do much to it.
Yeah, so. But yeah, the Mandibuzz I wasn't entirely sure about, because you're looking at a Mandibuzz, it didn't have Toxic, it didn't have Defog. I actually forget its 2 non-offensive moves, because I think it was U-Turn and Foul Play. I think were the 2 it had, which is an intriguing one. Sort of, it's more seen that you use Mandibuzz for sort of Toxic Store, but in this case, it was very much used as a momentum gainer, which was a very nice use of it. Unfortunately, to say, not able to get it to work out against interim coach Jack Don Fnatic, who was playing, as we say, in place of Xenon.
Yeah. And once again, something I don't understand. He brought in Cobalion on an Arcanine and kind of let it die.
Yeah,
that was his King that you could just send in.
Was his Sashed one, wasn't it?
I think.
It was Sash rocks and things and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he wasted that thing. He could just go to Nuking and apply pressure, because it's a Nidoking. It will always apply pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't understand that, to be honest. And he let Mew die a tad bit too early for my liking, but how much can you do about that, really?
Yeah.
I think Cobalion would have been kind of nice to keep in the back. But,
yeah, I would say so.
That's just what happens. And then he missed, which didn't matter.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but at the end of the day, probably not game-changing.
Yeah, because defensive Arcanine is a fucking monster.
Yeah, this is true. So, moving on, I think, to number 9, and slipping slightly down the table after a very good start to the season, it has to be said, we have our very own leader, Fredo, and the Welchions, sitting at number 9 this week on both our lists, taking the tough 3-0 loss to the Blastburn Rovers and Kyle.
He slipped on the road to get good and became bad.
I like how you're getting new phrases in to say essentially the same thing.
I know, I'm so proud of myself.
You're clearly using that dictionary very well.
Definitely.
So I should say thesaurus, but I'm getting off track on a grammatical tangent. Back to the matter at hand. Fredo and the Welchions at number 9. The first thing I've written down is just gets wrecked by Spaceman.
Come on, slam.
Which was somewhat ironic in the fact that Spaceman didn't really do much to him on the day.
Yeah.
He knew that Mamoswine was the massive threat to his team, and he did all he could to stop it. He brought in the Weezing, he brought in defensive Mega Manectric, or sort of pseudo-defensive, with the Magnet Rise. He brought the Shuckerberry on Empoleon, and that was pretty much all he could do about it. And unfortunately, he kind of lost everything he had from ammo quite early. Manectric took too much damage. Empoleon's Shuckerberry was wasted very, very early.
Bronzong.
Yeah, because of that ridiculously awesome Bronzong from Kyle, which was something, again, we'll move on to in a little bit, but bear in mind, we're going to be talking about some very cool sets later on. And he made some very, very sort of smart decisions. He had no Scald and Empoleon fearing a Facade, which I think Kyle has run in the past. And what else did he have? Special Crobat. As a Crobat user, Schady, what do we think of Special Crobat?
It's weak.
Well, Crobat is weak, just as a general rule of thumb.
I did calculate it last season. It just doesn't do damage, but apparently it would have done damage for him.
Yeah.
He said it 2-hit KOs the entirety of Kyle's team, which I highly doubt, because there's a Slowking. Unless there's AV. Well, unfortunately, Kyle went full Blame Truth and brought 3 AV users.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Having watched both of their both of their videos, and you're watching Frido's, and he's going, I've got the special bat, it can 2-hit KO everything unless he's got AV, and I'm sitting there going, oh, I know he's got 3 of those. And it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of lost everything he had for Mammoth, as he said, quite early on. And then, Kyle was able to do horrible damage to his team without actually using Mammoth One. It came down to a 5-on-1 situation at one point, and credit to Frido for clawing back some honour and dignity with the help of his Infernape, which got a couple of KOs late on.
Yeah.
Saving the differential just that little bit. But by then, the damage had been done by some very, very intelligent play by Kyle.
Yeah, I think that just shows how good Infernape is.
Yeah, very much so.
Also, if he would have gone for Flamethrower over Magnet Rise, which he had no reason to, which he realized afterwards, but still, he could have had a chance at winning, I think. There was no reason to go for Magnet Rise. It was probably like, yeah, let me show off this cool move I have, but Flamethrower would have killed unless it was like a Spadef AV build.
Yeah.
I guess. Actually, it might not have killed, but it would have been helpful to have the chip damage there. And in the end, he got killed by Rapid Spin. So, when it was Infernape.
That was unfortunate. That was just sort of rubbing salt in the wound, I think, from Kyle.
Definitely.
With the big Rapid Spin kill. Possibly the first we've seen of the season, I think, if memory serves.
Yeah, I think so. Could be wrong.
That pretty much ties things up for our talk on Frido at 9. So, I think we're going to
everyone who's out of the playoffs, by the way. Those 4.
Ah, well, there it is.
Completely out.
Everyone else, it would seem, as Shirley said, still has a shot at the playoffs. So first up of those, sitting at number 8 on our list, is going to be Eric, Ashton Akai, and the Bristol City Fletchlings. To be honest, not really a lot to go on here.
He kind of didn't play.
Yeah.
There's kind of nothing to say.
He was due to play against Gabriel, the Bearded Wonder, and LA Galoxray. Unfortunately, Gabe was unable to make that battle. He simply had too much on. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's a busy guy. And unfortunately, he just couldn't make the battle. So the 3-0 forfeit victory went to Eric. So he's not moving up on the table. He's not moving down on the table. He's kind of just sitting where he is. Have you moved him from last week?
Nope.
I don't think so.
8 last week as well.
Yeah, so we kind of just kept him where he is. But as we said, he's still very much in contention for a playoff position. I don't know how much that differential affects that in any way, but he's still very much in with a shout.
Yeah, we kind of worked the power ranks around him.
Yeah, a little bit.
So at least that's what happened.
Yeah, Eric, you were a central cog in this week's power rankings.
You almost said cog. That's funny.
I did not. I knew what I was saying. You just have a dirty mind. His mind's in the gutter, ladies and gentlemen. It's terrible. This is what I have to work with.
In my mind, so I'm allowed.
Oh dear. Anyway, so with not a lot to say about Eric this week, of course, through the no game, we are going to move on to number 7 on our list, and that is going to be Richie 15,000 and Liv Wormpool FC. This was one of the big matches of the week. Liv Wormpool FC versus Bison the Twin Leaf Tyrants, and Richie able to take a 1-0 victory in that match. With some really, really interesting stuff going on.
Not fucking melodic.
His Milotic was, I don't know what it was on, but it was killing all of the things.
And some stuff.
And also some stuff in there as well. I think 3 KOs for Milotic.
Yep.
I forget who it took out first. Oh, it took out Conkelda first.
I think so. Yeah.
He sort of was able to revenge KO the Conkelda after it had been damaged by Skarmory. Then in came Mega Pidgeot, and he was able to take advantage of a big misplay from Bice. Yeah. Bice going for the defog with Mega Pidgeot on Milotic, and of course Richie loves running that competitive Milotic. So he got the +2 in special attack and then took advantage of Mega Pidgeot's no guard to kind of just bop it with a Hydro Pump.
Yeah.
And followed that up with a Mirror Coat onto a Raichu, who was never going to kill Milotic. Never.
Yeah, if Raikou can't do it, then Raichu can't even dream of it.
Definitely. Other than that, we saw some very interesting stuff. Can we talk about Natural Gift Entei for a bit?
I mean, yeah, Natural Gift Grass is a cool idea.
Yeah.
But you might want to look up the mechanics before you use that move.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he wasn't to know that
Yeah.
his opponent's Swampert was packing Protect.
He also wasn't to know the game is stupid and has that stupid mechanic.
Yeah, Game Freak, if you're watching this...
Which they clearly are.
I mean, obviously.
I mean, people.
Clearly they watch us because they love our engaging content and our witty banter. Yeah, I mean, why Natural Gift has to use the berry even if the move fails? I don't know. But it's unfortunate, and it meant that Richie kind of was unable to get a bit of a better differential later on, which he might have got, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But either way, you know, he had some very cool sets. Rock Polishing Rhyperior, nice set. Using it when there's a full health Swampert, not so good.
Yeah, I think it probably could have lifted Scald.
Maybe.
I don't know his spread, because I don't think he has shown it.
I forget, no.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake. Other than that, he played the Salt game. Melodic was competitive Hydro Pump with Rocky Helmet, so it was defensive, but still kind of offensive-ish.
Yeah.
So I liked it a lot. It was not AV, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's always nice to have it not AV'd. But
Yeah,
you know,
it
that's what
worked.
Richie likes, that's what Richie can do. Hey, you don't own him.
I do.
Oh,
he's
well,
he's
there
my
it is.
personal horse.
Ah, well, I didn't know that. You learn something new every day, ladies and gents. It appears that Schady owns Richie, which is something I didn't know.
I mean, I knew that.
Anyway, with that, I think moving on from number 7 up to number 6 on the table, and once again we are in agreement today, and it is going to be Xenon and the Slovenian Arcanines. Now, Xenon was unable to play this week. He also has been a very busy bee. I think he was in Belgium, doing things and stuff. I don't actually know what he was doing there. I just know he was in Belgium.
His girlfriend, if I...
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. That's awesome.
No,
Nice.
I do. No, you do. I mean...
Now I do. I'm learning so many new things today. But anyway, the upshot of it was he wasn't able to play his game, so he got Jack, TBU stand-in extraordinaire and professional whipping boy, to play for him. And Jack did a very good job, it has to be said.
yeah, he didn't play a Jack game.
No, he played a very good Xenon game.
Pretty much.
You know, we mentioned that double toxic very early on, which was very nice. I fully appreciated that. That was very good. And he just played well, but he also played safely. You know, he scouted very well for super effective moves, knowing that Mew can get any kind of move. He was looking for the flamethrower on Scizor, switched out, saw it was happening, could then, you know, adapt and change his strategy.
Yeah.
And
then the end game came.
Yeah, the end game did come, and he did misplay with the Mega Scizor.
Yeah, there was a Nidoking and a Halucha left, and he decided to click Superpower.
Yeah, that was probably not his best idea.
That was him forgetting type matchups.
Yeah. But you know, he'd played very well up until that point, and by that time he'd done enough to take the win. And this is something we didn't mention a couple of days ago. Can we talk about Relic Song Meloetta? Because it's brilliant, and I love it.
I know you do.
And I didn't have the stones to use it in the PPL, but you
I
know,
was scared
Jack
of it,
did.
by the way.
That's
We
because
played.
you're scared of me. In general.
More scared of Jack than I'm scared of you.
Ow! That hurt me. That hurt. How dare you? How dare you? You're a terrible human being, Schady.
I know, I'm aware. Back to Jack.
But yeah, Relic Song Meloetta was very enjoyable to see.
Yeah.
You
Also,
know,
he made a good play at the end. I just want to mention that.
Yeah.
Nidoking was in. He knew it was Scarfed, and he had Arcanine on the field and he has Scizor on the field and Arcanine in the back, and he did not switch into Arcanine, which is good because going for Earth Power was really obvious because the Arcanine switch was obvious, expecting the obvious flamethrower.
Yeah.
Obvious.
Sorry,
So-
could you use that word one more time?
Obviously not.
Not bad.
I know. So yeah, that was a good play on his part.
Yeah, it was. You know, Jack has been standing in for a fair few managers and coaches this season for the TBU, and he's generally done a very good job with it. He's
except for when he played for Frito.
yeah, except for that.
Hashtag blame Jack for Frito's.
Frito's team rubbing off on him, maybe. I'm sorry, it's your job to
feel offended.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I won't take your job from you anymore. If there's any talking about Frito, it's your gig. You got it. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much I think all we have to say on the Arcanines. Now, I should say very briefly, Xenon, if you are watching this, Xenon was at 5 for me last week, and I've moved him down despite him not playing. Now, that is not based on anything, you know, he's done. It's just the fact that I think other people have deserved to move up a little bit more, based not only on their games this week, but also how I think they're stacking up going into the final game of the season. So obviously we take those into account when we're doing our sort of our list, which is why for me Xenon is at number 6, having moved down this week.
Yeah, he just stayed for me. He's been in six for a while now.
Yeah,
he's getting comfy there.
Yeah, pretty much. So with that, we will move on to the aforementioned number 5 slot, and for the first time this week, there is going to be a differing of opinions. So, who do you have at number 5?
Well, I don't have a lot to say because I have Gabe from the LA Galaxy. The reason is not that he played badly, because he kind of didn't play. It's just that other people deserve to move down, and he also has to fear for his playoff spot, while the 3 of the people above him don't. They're safely in. So he has one really important game in front of him next week against Kyle. They both have to fear for the playoff spot still, depending on how other games go. Other games being Richie versus Eric. So this is very important for both of them. I just moved Gabe down because I wanted to move other people up. That's all it is. If he wins next week, he's going to move up again. If we even do power rankings.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how that goes. Depending on whether we do or not, that is something that we'll be discussing in the days to come. In any case, my number 5 this week is going to be Kyle and the Blastburn Rovers. Didn't want to move Gabe down too much, you know. I think that particular one is going to be decided certainly in the coming game, because that is going to be one of the big games, one of the huge ones, because it's one of the main deciders of playoff positioning. But as I say, I have Kyle at number 5. He took the 3-0 win over the Welshions, and we mentioned some of the things he brought. The triple AV core was interesting. That Bronzong set was fantastic. Mixed offenses with max special defense and an assault vest. The ability to 2-hit KO everything on Frito's side of the field was very nice. And, you know, he knew that Weezing was one of the big stops to his Mamoswine, so he was prepared for that in his own way as well, which was nice. The way that his Bronzong took the overheat, was it?
No, flamethrower.
Flamethrower, sorry. The way it took a flamethrower from Mega Manectric, it was assault vest, max special defense, heat proof, and it just chewed it.
Did assault -5? It actually healed him.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That was beautiful set.
Not really an enormous more amount to say about Kyle. He brought very cool sets. He got very cheeky at the end. That rapid spin KO. We see you. We see you, Kyle.
That's a rule. If you can't get a rapid spin kill,
I suppose that is true.
He tried twice, which is the problem.
He tried to get a second one.
He almost lost his Excadrill because of that.
Yeah. You're a maverick, Kyle. You're a maverick renegade, and you're living life on the edge. Oblivious Mamoswine was quite nice. It kind of bit him more in the arse more than it actually did work, because you could see why he was running it, not wanting to take a taunt, wants to get up those rocks. As it was, if he was heat proof, he might have taken the hit from Infernape, but he didn't.
Take that, not heat proof.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. I was confused because his Bronzong was heat proof.
All kinds of things happening.
So many different things and stuff. But
so much mixtape stuff happening.
Really nice game from Kyle. Really well built team. Fantastic stuff. Basically, nothing much more to add. So, I guess with that we'll move on to number 4 and segue nicely in.
I think, yeah. Should I go with mine first? Should I
go for it? Absolutely. Segue nicely into your number 4.
Yeah, because mine is Kyle from the Blackburn Rovers as well.
It is indeed.
Hype and things. The fact that he even came up with that Bronzong is really impressive. I don't think it's that obvious, but the fact that you come up with a defensive Mon like Bronzong, which is usually more of a setup bait kind of thing for a lot of Mons, and you turn it into an offensive threat to the entirety of someone's team is really impressive, while being able to check a lot of important threats. So So I give him huge props for that set. I don't think many people would come up with that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So that one problem that would have saved him is differential. His Latias did not speed Infernape, which Latias is 110, Infernape was 108, so it should have. He was a bit too slow. I think he should have definitely worked on that. He said he would in his team building video, if I recall correctly. He kind of didn't.
Yeah.
So that's, as the speed creeping, speed fetishist, I guess.
Yeah.
You just kind of need to do that because being a threat like Infernape, which can destroy entire teams, you kind of need to outspeed it with one of the few things you have for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all it is. Other than that, well played game, well built team, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, basically, which means we're going to move on to my number 4, and I do have Gabe and the LA Gluxray at number 4. As we mentioned, he was unable to play his game this week. I'm keeping him at 4 because, I still kind of think he's got slightly more sort of... I don't know really how to say this, but I kind of want to keep him at 4 and not move him down below Kyle this week. There's not really a lot to say about it. More to the point that I think that it'll be very interesting to see how well he uses this in the final game, which of course, as we mentioned, is against Kyle. This is the only time we differ. So yeah, I'm just going to keep him at 4. And yeah, not really have anything to say about it, to be honest. Sort of ramble on trying to find words, but there's nothing to say about a game that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I guess we're just going to have to see if I'm proved right or wrong when he plays against Kyle in the coming game.
Yeah. So, should I move on? Do you want to move on?
I guess we're going to move on to number 3, and you'll be seeing on your screens once again that we have the same thing. It's Enzo and the Swiskers.
Yeah. There's not too much to say. He played Jedi, and Jedi just went full Jedi, so at this point he just had to play a game of videos. The video variety, excuse me.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I think he should have... I don't know. He kind of was baiting the crit against Slurpov, I think. Maybe it's just me, because I feel like he could have... No, never mind. The Greninkus did like approximately 5%, even at plus whatever the fuck he was at.
Yeah.
So going for the last comment was important. So ignore that. He could have definitely preserved his differential better, though.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he switched in his Victini on Rod and Wash when he still had Venusaur.
Yes.
I want to say Venusaur was still around.
I feel like Venusaur was still there.
So I don't know what he was doing there. He was lucky he didn't get paralyzed by the discharge. So
yeah.
Other than that, he just played a solid game. That's all he had to do.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of just using relatively standard spreads with good power. I did like Physical Agility Thunderous.
Yes.
That's a set that I personally do like and have used, and it's really actually quite good.
I mean, what set have you not used, except for standard sets?
Well, sometimes I do like branch into standard sets. Very, very occasionally. But as someone who likes these kind of slightly off-the-wall sets, but still very legitimate sets, Agility Physical Thunderous is one of those things, and it's powerful, Yeah,
definitely.
And as I mentioned, he kind of just used Venusaur. There was nothing special about it. He just used it. He said go and do things, and it did.
Yeah,
and that was all he needed to do, really.
That's what Mega Venusaur does against a team that's not really prepared for it. It just does things.
Yeah, and it's easy to be caught off guard by the kind of stuff Jedi brings. And with these kind of teams, it's possible, It's very realistic that someone could be caught off guard to the point where it'd be detrimental to them. Enzo's not one of those people. He's able to just, kind of do his thing and do what he needed to do to win, basically.
Yeah. I think there was something I wanted to say, but I kind of forgot it, so...
Good.
Oh, yeah. Thunderous had T-Wave, which I think Josh was criticizing that.
Yeah.
Reason for that is there's Volcarona. That's pretty much all it is. You don't just have a Thunderous Eye that can run prior to T-Wave against a team with a lot of setup sweepers. It's not the only one. There's Terrakion, there's Metagross, there's so many more.
Yeah.
So T-Wave was a very, very nice idea, even though he was a more offensive build.
Yeah. I think the confusion was coming by the fact that he was running Agility as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But, it's both of those moves, whilst they kind of have the same result generally, he had them for very different purposes. He was basically a 2-move speed setup sweeper who also had Thunderwave.
which was also a safety net.
Yeah,
Much.
very much so. So, you know...
Thunder's Eye is amazing, because it's a safety net. Safety
Yeah, it does
awesome.
all these things so very well. So, you know, nothing against him bringing agility and Thunderwave. Very nice strategy in the end.
Definitely.
So, with that, moving on to number 2 on our list, and as you will see once again, we are in agreement on the fact that it is going to be Bice and the Twin Leaf Tyrants, who took the unfortunate 1-0 loss in a very good game against Richie, you know.
He derped, which cost him a lot.
Yeah, he did. He did derp a lot on that Milotic.
Yes.
It really kind of knocked him for 6. I feel like he was 6-3 or 5-3 down at the beginning
I think
because of the Milotic, which I've just said differently both times because I'm an adult and I do what I want. But yeah, back to Bice. He had a horrific start. He really did. That Milotic, however you want to say it. It did so much work, but the big long eelfish, we'll call it that. You know, he rallied well. He did. It could have been a lot worse after that start, but he rallied very well. Again, running some very interesting sets. That Embor set, I want to keep coming back to that because that was an amazing set. You're looking at, I think it was max defense, heavy speed investment, or vice versa. I forget which one.
I think he had just HP, defense investment, both, and then good amount of speed.
Yeah, so he was speedy defense with reckless adamant with no attack investment, expert belt, will-o-wisp, and other attacks and moves and things.
Wild charge and stuff.
It just so many things that it can do, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic set there.
Definitely.
Really intuitive. I enjoyed it. Yeah, he made the game a lot closer than it could and possibly should have been. You know, he had the presence of mind to be running Protect on Swampert, and you know, seeing Richie bring in the Entei directly onto the Swampert will have got alarm bells going. Because you don't do that. You don't bring in something that's so horrifically weak on paper if you don't have contingency. And, you know, he knew that, and he was just like, nope, protecting. And it worked out for him very well.
Would have also worked if Entei was like a power-up solar beam set.
Yes, it would have.
In use as well, so it's nice.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I think he was actually considering that.
I think I might be wrong.
Before the game, before deciding.
Yeah, oh yeah, Richie was considering that.
Yeah. But yeah, Bice, you know, he's been pipped by a lot of people, including people in this very league, as one of the best in it. And, you know, he's shown that time and again. Even in a loss such as this one, he was able to play incredibly well to claw it back and make it as close as it was. So credit to him for that. And yeah, is he guaranteed playoff? I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
He is guaranteed playoff. So, you know, he's very much in there. And, you know, he's still looking really good despite this loss.
I'm pretty sure he is, and he should be.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have like 2 things to say. Switching in Mega Pidgeot on the Melodic was not a good idea in the first place, because he would have risked a burn, a potential Toxic, or just damage in general from Ice Beam, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, you know, and then he went for Defog on a competitive mon that, you know, was just a huge brain fart, I guess. What happens?
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen, but it happens. But yeah, switching it in the first place was kind of because it's a Melodic, it's going to beat you 10 out of 10 times, unless you get a lot of confusion hacks. Then, in general, he didn't have a lot for the big, long eelfish, which is the short form is, the short forms are now officially Blef.
Blef, I love it.
Yeah, he didn't, like, Raichu's not going to kill it. It's just not. It's weak. So he didn't have a lot for that thing, which could have potentially just beat his team, if things would have gone a tiny bit differently. But as that happened, it put in a huge amount of work, as to be expected. And yeah, Blef was a problem for his team.
It was indeed. It was indeed. But, you know, he's still looking good, as we say, played very well to drag it back to a 1.
Definitely. But you already said that, so I didn't say it.
Indeed. So, with that, we are going to move on to the number 1 spot, and you can see it on your screen. You know who it is. She's been there for most of the season, and she remains at number 1 for both of us. It's Anima and the Golden State Dragons, with the big 5-0 this week over the Somerset Scissors, and just once again, brilliantly played and brilliantly well-built team.
Yeah.
So many sets to talk about. That Medicham, first off.
On fucking point.
Just so good. HP and attack investment, bulky Mega Medicham, no speed investment.
And even some defense investment.
Yeah, even some defense in order to take a fake out and return from Megalopony and bop it with a Drain Punch to get all the health back. Just
Bop it so hard.
Just so good. So good. And Megalopony wasn't there, was it?
Nope.
Which, you know, didn't stop Mega Medicham in the slightest from running train on the rest of the Or Somerset Sizzles. Which it promptly did. Heliolisk was nice because unstabbed dragon coverage.
Yes. Sis should just offer it.
We like our unstabbed dragon coverage, everyone. This is a sort of running theme with our battles and stuff and things. We like unstabbed Dargon coverage. And I enjoyed light screen on Latios. Yes, I've got that written correctly. Latios often more seen as the big sort of nuking threat, but light screen is a perfectly useful thing to have on it. And, you know, used to great effect. As for the plays, you know, it was basically just kind of making the solid early plays, getting chip damage here and there, and then suddenly Medicham. That was kind of just it.
She made a couple of really good double switches. Expecting Registeel to come in and just going into Medicham and then continue to bop it. Really good play on her part.
Yeah, and she really psyched out Sis in terms of the Vaporeon. Because of course she has a Heliolisk, which is immune to those scalds. And she kind of baited the early scald. Well, she had three sort of situations where she had the potential to switch into Heliolisk on the Vaporeon. First time, Sis was expecting the switch and didn't go for Scald, and she didn't switch in. Second time, he went for the Scald, and she did switch in. Third time, he expected her to go into it again, and so he didn't go for the Scald, and that allowed her a safe switch into Medicham instead, not risking the burn, and able to start putting in Medicham work once again. So, you know, I think that was probably just great planning on Anima's part. It's the kind of thing she'd think of. And if not, either way, it was just really well played, a fully well played situation there. She always seemed to be sort of in control.
Yeah, definitely.
Very much so. Which is a great strength of hers. And, you know, just shows why she's top of the table, both in terms of victories and in terms of the power rankings.
Yep.
So, unless there is anything more to add, Schady, on that?
No, not particularly.
In which case, yeah, that is pretty much going to wrap things up from us here. Remember, as we said at the beginning of the video, these are entirely our opinions. There is no fact to this other than the facts we rattle off from the games. Where they are ranked in the power rankings, that is where we just have our opinions coming in. So, as we said, let us know if you agree or disagree. Let us know how you would rank the coaches this week and throughout the entire week. Let us know. We are always fascinated and interested to hear what you guys have to say. So, as I say, that is going to wrap things up from us. Now, as you may be aware, the next series of games coming is week 10, and that is the last of the regular season games. After that, we get into playoffs. So there's only 6 teams involved, which means that these power rankings, I think this is the last one, is it not?
We could probably make one after next week.
We might make another one, but
I don't see much point in it, honestly.
Yeah. Certainly, either next week or the week after, we're going to be cutting it down to one video a week, where we're just going to be looking more in-depth at the games that are happening. It won't be power rankings and uni news per se, it'll be kind of an amalgamation of the two. But,
yeah, more uni news than power rankings.
Yeah, very much so. But we'll keep you informed, you know. We will try and let you know what's happening as we can. Certainly keep an eye on the TBU Twitter and YouTube. Make sure you keep up to date with everything that's going on. Links, of course, in the description, I imagine. To the TBU Twitter, where all your news can be found. But as of now, we are going to get out of here. So thank you all very much for watching. We do hope you have enjoyed. Yeah, keep looking out on the Twitter and the YouTube to find out when we are next going to be here. It will probably be on Tuesday, but we will update you if that is wrong, which it might be, because it might be. We're scrubs.
Yeah,
but yeah,
massive scrubs.
Basically, that is how it goes.
We're not Superman.
No, well, I mean, contrary to popular belief.
That was a nice reference. I'm proud of myself.
You should be. You should be. Well done, Schady.
Thanks.
Clap for Schady. Yeah, we've rambled on a little bit here, but we are going to get out of here now. So our final thank you for watching, and yeah, we will see you next time, I guess.
I have something to say.
Oh,
Frido?
you do?
Frido,
You failed me to get good this season. I'm crying now.
A moment of silence for Shardy's hopes and dreams.
Yeah. Okay, it was
there it is. There it is. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care, TBU fans. Goodbye.
Goodbye.